To be completely honest with you, I was 100% sure that the Spurs were going to force a Game 6 back at Madison Square Garden today so that the Knicks could win a championship on home soil. And I could not have been more wrong because I doubted Jalen Brunson, and that was a complete mistake. And so here we are, and the New York Knicks are NBA champions for the first time since 1973, and they deserve it fully. I have not been shy about criticizing Jalen Brunson this entire series, saying he was taking too many shots, he was hunting shots at some points, almost to the detriment of his team. But today, I have absolutely no words for how crucial, how much Jalen Brunson stepped up when his team needed him to close out this series and shut the door on any sort of Spurs talk, any sort of Spurs comeback. 45 points today does not even tell the whole story because of how much of the rest of the team was struggling. They literally shot horribly the first half, horribly, honestly, the entire game except for Jalen Brunson. OG Anunoby didn't show up. Karl-Anthony Towns was in foul trouble. Basically, nobody else showed up today except for a little bit of Mikal Bridges, except for Jalen Brunson. And so I'm literally recording this before they announced the Finals MVP, but I would not be shocked if Jalen Brunson wins Finals MVP based on this one game in this series. You could literally see the motivation in his eyes. You could see how physical they were being with Jalen Brunson. And he wanted to end this today. He didn't care about winning back in front of the New York fans. He wanted to win today, close it, and show the world who he is. I just cannot believe that the Spurs could not close this game out. I mean, it literally was like every other game where they lead almost the entire night and then they still can't close it out. And we'll get to what the Spurs have to do, what went wrong with them later in the video, but I'm just so impressed with the Knicks closing the series out in 5 games when it felt way, way, way closer than that, the entire series. But wow, what an awesome moment for all of these guys, for Jalen Brunson to win his first championship, for Cat obviously to win his first championship after being ridiculed a lot and being questioned a lot in his Minnesota days, to come to New York and actually help them win a championship. For OG, who literally couldn't even play in the finals when Toronto won their championship. Just what a moment for all of these guys on such an individual level. I literally keep eyeing my phone over here to see who wins Finals MVP because I'm actually really curious to see who it is. Yeah, Cat had a brilliant first couple games in this series. OG also could have some consideration, but ultimately Jalen Brunson was the star of today's game. So I'm actually super curious to see who it is. And there it is, the Finals MVP is Jalen Brunson, and honestly, so well deserved, all because of today's game. You can't even give it to anyone else because he single-handedly closed out the series for them today. Wow, I can't even believe what a career this has been for Jalen Brunson to start with Luka, where no one really expected you to become the player that you are today, and now you're Finals MVP and you led New York to their first championship since 1973. What a career it has been for Jalen Brunson. Not to mention the dedication you showed to New York, taking pay cuts in order for them to build the team that they have currently constructed. Jalen Brunson deserves this 100%, no matter how much I've criticized him this entire series. I mean, the parity in the NBA is at a complete all-time high right now. Who would have expected the New York Knicks to win a championship this season after what OKC did last season and how they were dominating all season? Even when you're beginning the playoffs, who would have expected the New York Knicks to do what they just did, winning 13 straight playoff games en route to winning their first NBA championship since 1973. I'm just going to keep on saying that because that's just crazy to me that they have not even won a championship since then in one of the biggest markets in the NBA. And now I'm just so excited for the offseason because with this parity, teams are going to be so much more encouraged in order to make bigger moves, in order to actually think that they have a chance to win a championship. We saw how hard it is to repeat. OKC literally got bounced out of the playoffs by a San Antonio Spurs team who lost in 5 to the eventual champions. So excited for what the offseason has to store, for what next season has to store, for what the next 5 seasons have in store. And now for the Spurs side. Wow, this was a game that if I was a betting woman, I would have 100% bet on the Spurs to win this game. Basically, because of how they lost last game, they even led throughout the entirety of this game as well. They were up by I think they were up by 16 points at one point. And to blow this lead again, I have no words for how inexperienced this team had looked in the finals after getting so far. Part of me thinks it was even fatigue. And I'm almost convinced that De'Aaron Fox had money on the Knicks to win. There's just no way he went through a whole series like this, being this bad. He had awful fouls, he took awful shots, he didn't make any shots, he basically did everything wrong that you could do as a veteran player, so much so that he looked like a rookie guard when Dylan Harper is supposed to be that rookie guard. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, the Spurs are the better team than the Knicks, and they've played like the better team for about the majority of the series, but at the end of the day, they're the way dumber team. And that's actually pretty true, because if you think about it, they led the majority of this series. I'm sure if someone puts the number of minutes that the New York Knicks led versus the number of minutes that the San Antonio Spurs led, the San Antonio Spurs basically had control of the games for majority of the time. Think about what happened at the end of game 2 when Wemby turned the ball over against Castle. Think about what happened last game when they blew a 29-point lead. Think about what happened today when they blew a 16-point lead and the Knicks led for the first time after leading 5-4. You cannot tell me that the Spurs didn't have the talent to win this championship. It was all youth, it was all inexperience, and it was De'Aaron Fox literally plotting against their downfall. So where do the Spurs go from here? Obviously, a lot of good things to take from this entire postseason run. No one expected you to come this far. Obviously, is it really disappointing? Yeah, you had the talent to actually beat the Knicks and win a championship. I'm not saying that takes away anything from what the Knicks just did, because they had to be the more veteran team, they had to be more calm. But this was not a 4-1 series in competitiveness. If I'm San Antonio Spurs GM, the first thing I'm doing is getting off De'Aaron Fox. You have a guy in Dylan Harper ready to take the spotlight. A guy who, except for the end of this game because he missed a couple easy shots that could have helped the Spurs win this game and prolong the series, other than that, he has been absolutely insane, absolutely ridiculous, and way better than De'Aaron Fox was in this entire series, if not the entire playoff run. So the first thing I'm doing is getting off of De'Aaron Fox, building around Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, and Dylan Harper as the new core for this team. But nevertheless, even though this finals was super disappointing for the San Antonio Spurs, and there were a lot of heartbreaking losses, and you felt like you had a chance for a lot of these games. Even Wemby was talking about how he's going to come back 3-1, which I'm sure he had some level of confidence in order for him to say that. You still have a lot of positives to take away from, and even though Wemby was sort of disappointing, this entire series didn't really have the impact that we were expecting him to have as a future face of the NBA. You still have an alien on your team who's 7'4", who's willing to put in all the work to come back even better next year. Yeah, man. Shout out to Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, all of the other Knicks players, Jose Alvarado. Shout out to them because they're NBA champions. The biggest market in the NBA rules the NBA again, and will rule the NBA for the next season at least. But yeah, if you like this video, there's going to be a lot more off-season content coming your way, so be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below what your thoughts are about the New York Knicks being the newest NBA champions. I'll see you guys in the next one.